All right, I'm going to talk for about 60 seconds. I would like you to let me know if you can see the picture clearly and if you can hear me clearly. Somebody please note whether or not you can hear me clearly. I'm going to wait. YouTube is having an algorithm nightmare. They're changing their algorithms. Everything is screwed up. I'm watching my video, but I'm looking at someone else's video feed. Can you hear my live stream? Okay, Jim, thank you. Daddy-o. Boy, that's a 1950s expression. Be cool, Daddy-o. Everything is smooth. That's a hippie. That's a hippie expression, Jim Chouinard. Wow, I haven't heard Daddy-o. That's like Dobie Gillis. Dobie Gillis, who used to play the drums, the beatnik guy. I remember that expression. You must be really you must be old like me. So so today's dissertation, thanks for commenting. Uperland. I never heard of Uperland. All right, well, maybe I'm not old enough to hear of Uperland. You might be older than me, which means you're old. So today's dissertation is going to be about these items that you see before you. This is just the beginning of getting a permit in the Philippines for a foreigner. I'm going to tell you something, folks. Being a foreigner, it's about 1,000 times more expensive or 10,000 times more expensive. Well, let's just go. It's 1,000,000 times more expensive for a foreigner to get a permit in the Philippines to build something than it is for a Filipino. Because Filipinos will just build 2 entire houses on a lot behind their house or on the street, and no one says a word. No building inspectors come by. The barangay captain does not question the building of the structures. There's no plumbing inspector. There's no electrical inspector. There's certainly no buildings department inspectors. Okay? Filipinos have a different set of rules than foreigners. So I have watched 17 structures built on my road with many more in play without even one permit issued to anybody ever in the last 5 years, 4.5 years. I've been here since March 16th in Alona Beach. I have watched, I don't know how many houses, 20 houses being built, no permits, nothing. If you're Filipino, I've never called up on anybody, and I never intend to call up on anybody, but I'm telling you, it goes on everywhere in the Philippines. If a Filipino has the rights to a piece of property, they just build whatever they wish. I'm talking about houses with electric. The electric company gives them a wire to the house. Plumbing, the plumbing company brings a water line up to their house. No permits Filipinos build with, and no building codes. But me, as a foreigner, they make you jump through hoops that are jumpable. I'll say I jumped through every hoop, but I'm going to tell you now, it's 2 years since I applied for my CNC permit for my height clearance. It's 2 years that I paid an architect 50% more than what he quoted me on the phone only a week later. Because when I got to the architect's office for the CNC permit, the height clearance, when I got to the architect's office, it was a week later, and it was supposed to be 5,000 pesos for, he didn't spend 10 minutes on my property. In fact, he never came to my property. He looked at an aerial survey. He grabbed an elevation off the waterline from, of all places, he grabbed it from the island of Mindanao, which is 250 miles away. He asked me how high up off the ocean I was. I told him 2 meters, 1.5 meters. He said, well, we're going to use 2 meters. In other words, he guessed. He took an elevation off of an island 250 miles away. And I'll tell you why he did that. He was supposed to come to my house on a Monday morning, let's say. Let's just use an oddball term. Monday morning. He was supposed to come to my house, and he never showed up. Then he was supposed to send a surveyor to my house, and he never showed up. So then I went to his office, and he didn't show up at his office. We got there at 10 o'clock. He didn't show up till 10 minutes after 11. And I said, come on, give me the paperwork. You said you'd have it done. Yes, wait a while. Waited there till almost 12 o'clock. And he didn't have the paperwork done. So I said, look, I need this paperwork. I want to go to the FAA to get my height clearance. Yes, sir. I'll have it done in a few minutes. I'm going, how are you going to do it in a few minutes? You didn't survey the property. You didn't do a height clearance off the ocean. We'll use the parameters of Mindanao. I said, that's 250 miles away. He goes, it's all good. It's the same. The ocean's flat. I said, well, yeah, I know that, but you're not going to go to the property? No, sir. So I said, well, how much is this going to cost me? I'm looking for a discount. I was quoted 5,000 pesos, $100 for this survey. He goes, 7,500 pesos, sir. I said, but last week it was 5,000 pesos. You just raised it 50%. Yes, sir. The price went up. I said, but you didn't do the job. Sir, if you'd like to go someplace else, go someplace else. You know what? There's only one person that does the height clearance that's accepted by the FAA on the island of Panglao. And he is it. We already tried to go someplace else when the first clown from his office didn't show up. So I fill out the paperwork. He fills out the paperwork. And he goes, here you go. Bring it to the FAA's office. 7,500 pesos. This Filipino architect basically bent me over and raped me. 7,500 pesos for a piece of paper he filled out in his office in 35 minutes and never went to the job. But because he had the license, he charged me $150. Okay, now I'm going to tell you how much it cost for the 4-story plans and what I had to go through to get those. So I'm going to go to the videotape here and see who's here. Naturally, I say hello to some people. Jim Charnard is here. Beavis Buttmuch, welcome. The Mackinac Bridge, nice place. Sounds better. Steve, okay, Steve 2509. Thanks for the update on the sound. Okay, so all right, so but let me finish with the height clearance first. Okay, because the hotel is going to be 4 stories, you need a height clearance because 6 miles away, which means that any aircraft landing or taking off, and I'm a A&P mechanic and I have some pilot training. Any plane that takes off, they take off at 8:22 a.m. That one goes over the house, and at 2:22 and 3:22, they take off in different directions. At 8:22 they take off, at 2:22 they take off, at 3:22 they take off, and at different times, at 5:30 in the morning they come in, and at 5:30 at night they come in, but they go directly over the house. Okay, I mean, like they go directly over the house. We'll leave it at that. So, but they're already at somewhere about 3,500 to 4,000 feet. They're only 6 miles from the landing strip. But I need a height clearance. So I paid the architect. Then I brought the paperwork to the FAA. the FAA has to approve the height clearance, and what they do is review it and make sure it's complete, and then they'll give you the address of where you mail the height clearance to in Manila. And that's that service fee for the FAA, for them to review it and to give you the address, is 50 pesos, $1. The architect just charged me $150, and he never went to the property. That just got me the wrong way. Okay, so I send out the paperwork the same day. We originally rented the property October 18th of 2016. The plans were supposed to be done by the first week of November, second week the latest of 2016. They were not ready. I didn't get the plans finished, not signed, but finished until the end of May 25th of 2017, but they still weren't signed. So the man took 50% deposit for the plans, which wasn't much. The plans cost, I'm just going to round it off. The plans cost 15,000 pesos, but they were supposed to cost 7,000 pesos. When he got the deposit and he looked at the scope of the job, as you say in the trade, he changed it to 13,000 pesos, which I agreed to, because 13,000 pesos is only $260 for a set of plans for a 4-story hotel. At some point, he realized, okay, so here's what happens. So I said, okay, just give me the damn plans. This is already back in April, 7 months later. I still don't have the plans. Just give me the damn plans. So on May 25th, he gives me the plans, hands them to me. Thank you, sir. Pay me the balance of the monies. I look at the plans, and the plans are for a 2-story hotel, and he's got a peaked roof with 3 dog houses in the front of the roof. If you don't know what that is, I'm not going to explain architecture to you. It's a window opening on a roof, on an angled roof. I go, what the hell is this? I told you, I gave you a set of blueprints from a nearby hotel to follow. And I said, my hotel and the nearby hotel is 4 stories. Follow this blueprint, minimize the length, minimize the depth, make it 4 stories. And he looked at his plans and saw it was only for 2 floors. He said, Mike, you're going to have to come back in a few weeks. I said, no, this is ridiculous. Do it now. No, Mike, you're going to have to wait a few weeks. So I waited 2 more weeks. When I go to pick up the plans, he says, you're going to have to pay me an extra 2,000 pesos to modify the plans. I says, I already, you told me 7. You raised it to 13. Now you only made it 2 stories, and you're charging me 2,000 more pesos. What are you kidding me? He goes, well, to add the additional 2 stories, it took me time. I'm going, it wouldn't have took you any time if you did it right the first time. So I gave him the 2,000 pesos. So we went from 7,000 pesos for the plans and getting them the first week of November to 15,000 pesos for the plans and not getting them until 8 months later in June. So now I get the plans in June. I couldn't move on to the property. I couldn't start building my 12-foot by 12-foot domain. I couldn't do that until I got the plans approved. So the building department knew about these issues. So I went to the building department plans supervisor, and the plan supervisor said, you can't move on to the property and you can't clear the land until you get the plans approved. So I said, may I speak with the head engineer? And he said, okay. There was no problem. They're all in the same room, but the man was busy. He said, sit over there. I'll tell him what the problem is. So I sat down at the chief engineer's office and I discussed the problem. He says, I'm familiar with it. Tell you what, go clear the land and you can move on to the land. We'll get these plans approved within a few days. And he did. He got them approved within a few days. But it took from October of 2016, so October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June. It took 9 months to get my permit and my plans when I was told it would take 2 weeks. And all the monies were paid either in full in advance or 50% in advance for all my permits. So digressing back to the height clearance, it's now 2.5 years and I don't have my height clearance. They don't want me to build the foundations until I get my height clearance, which I said is ridiculous. I'm building it from the ground up. I'm not building it from the top floor down. I didn't even believe the ridiculous nonsense I was being heard. Again, I go to the head engineer and I said, sir, I'm building the foundations first, correct? He said, yes. And then I'm going to build the first floor and the second floor, correct? He goes, yes. I says, and the third floor, right? Yes. What does that have to do with the fourth floor? Because you don't need a height clearance for 3 floors. He goes, well, as long as you promise not to build the fourth floor before you build the foundation. He was joking. He caught the gist of the ridiculousness of the conversation. As long as you promise not to build the fourth floor first, as a joke, you can go ahead. So I got permission to start building. Oh, I could dig the holes right from the day I got the permits, but no building. So I got permission to go ahead with building. Sometime it was, okay, so I applied. I got the plans in May of 2017, and in May of 2018, I got the go-ahead to build. Okay, so people that are asking me what it's like building in the Philippines, those two scenarios are true, and I still don't have from 2016, November of 2016, November of 2017, and November of 2018. 2.5 years, my height clearance is still not processed. And neither are any of the other structures on the island of Panglao, unless you pay some stupid amount of money to somebody to go to Manila to put the plans on the desk. Apparently they're backlogged. So anyway, I got the plans approved to start building at the end of June, which I still had 3 more holes to dig for the foundations. The septic tank, the water tank, and all the other holes were dug. So I have 3 more holes for the foundations, and they are in solid pink coral. Pink coral, if you don't know what pink coral is, it's the hardest variety of coral that I ran across in my life, and I dug coral since the year 2001. So I have 18 years of digging coral. Never ran across anything this hard before. It's an ancient island. The coral it's a weird type of coral. It's like 5,000-pound concrete. Okay, so I'll give you, and now I'm going to go over the rest of the costs while I read the comments for these items that you have to have before you can apply for the permit, and the costs of these things. So I'm going to go to the top of the page. Hello, Slow Ride. Thanks, Scott. Welcome to the machine here. Yes, Pennsylvania Trucker. I was having sound problems on the previous live streams. Now, Electric Eclectic TV says it's called soaking the foreigner. Why you complain? You have money. That's right. That's exactly right. Eclectic TV has to have lived in the Philippines or lives in the Philippines. Why are you complaining? You are rich. Why are you complaining? Mahal pesos, which means much, or many, many pesos, many, many pesos. That's how they look at you. You're an ATM machine, a walking ATM machine. Waiting time. We don't care about no waiting time. Okay, Eclectic TV lives in the Philippines. He knows the story. Money creases many hands to make the world turn. Well, the truth of the matter is, before the building was going to get any foundations, Warren, I dig the foundations holes first. You see, when I do a job in Florida and someone wants to build the footings for a house and the pool is behind the house, I tell them, you know what, I'll dig out the pool first, because otherwise, to get to the back of the house, I may only have a 10-foot driveway with an 8.5-foot wide machine. I don't want to be hauling material out of an 8.5-foot driveway around the finished house. And people will tell me, no, I don't want to do it like that. And I said, okay, then just get somebody else to do the job, the pool job. I'll do the footings, but I'm not hauling material between a house and a hard fence for 4 or 5 days, busting my ass. I have no room to turn the machine around. I have no room for a spoil pile. I have no room for a bank pile. I have no room. So I want to do it my way. So my way is, you start at the back of the property and you start digging out the footings or foundations or pools. Dig the holes, fill the holes back up. If it's rock, dig the holes in the rock, fill the holes back up so that anybody could come along with a pickaxe and a shovel and wheelbarrows if necessary, get the material out, and then work your way towards the front of the house. In my case, in the front of the building, I have an 8-foot septic tank, 8 foot wide by 14 foot long. I built it bigger so I could have a bigger gray water holding tank. And then the holding tank has an overflow directly into the ground, and I'm not going to have that. I'm going to put in what is known as a drain field. There are trees, there's grass in front of the property. I'm going to dig up in front of the property. I'm going to put a full-fledged legal Florida drain field in, so my septic water doesn't soak into the ocean. I have a certification in septic tank and drain field building, so I know how to do this. If I can buy the material here, if I can't, I'll just have to substitute fine screed sand for what we call sugar sand in Florida. So anyway, I'm going to go through the rest of the costs here. So I could not build nothing until June, and that's when my foot injury occurred. So to answer these people with this ridiculous, when are you going to build a hotel? You have no idea what a foreigner goes through to get permits here. One foreigner built a hotel, 4 floors, without a permit. I don't even know how much it cost, okay? And I have no idea what the fine was. There was a fine. The job stopped for, I think it was, I'm going by memory because I don't live there anymore, but I'm going by memory. I don't live in that area. It was a year and a half, 2 years. They stopped the job. They went up to the 4th floor without a permit, and they stopped the job, and they said, don't even take the lumber or debris off the 4th floor. Just leave it just the way it is. And they took pictures and video, and then whatever they were fined, I never found out, but it was considerable. And they had to wait a year and a half before they completed any more. And then the 4th floor is still not done. And it ain't going to be done anytime soon because they don't have a height clearance either. So this is not the easiest thing to do here in the Philippines. Randall R. Apparently he knows septic, how to treat septic water. Randall R., I'm not going to do a mound, okay? The sand mound would work fine, but we have 2 meters before we hit groundwater. And I'm going to use, I'm just going to go standard 4-inch septic pipe with 1/2-inch holes at the bottom of the pipe only. I'm going to put a bed. I can't find sugar sand. I'm going to put, and typically in America, we put down sugar sand, about 15 inches of white sugar sand. It's the finest white beach sand you ever saw. Clogs up easy, but if you have a proper drain field, it'll last 30 years without clogging up. And you don't put garbage, grease in your drain field. Try not to let people dump olive oil and grease in your drain field. Well, for you, don't do it. That's what clogs up a drain field faster than anything else. And I'm going to use, they don't have sugar sand here, so I'm going to use 15 inches of screed sand or mason sand, and I'm going to put a filter cloth on top of that, put the pipes on top of that, and fill it up with 1/2-inch crushed stone up to street level. And, of course, 10 inches below street level, I'll put a full black filter cloth membrane in to keep the dirt from going from rainwater and dirt to go through into the gravel. So it'll go sideways, but it won't go down. I know how to build a septic system, but thanks for the sand mound would interfere with parking, and I need that space for parking. So and also another thing, it took a long time to get on my permit. They wanted me to build it at ground level. Well, at ground level, I don't have a view of the beach when I'm sitting on a chair. I do standing up. So I applied to start my hotel by putting in no less than 1 meter of fill, which I'm going to get from the footings and the septic tanks when I dig them out and put the concrete footings and septic tank in. So I'm raising my property 36 inches of soil material, hard pack, and then I'm going to put a 5-inch slab on top of the hard pack. So I'm going to be up 36 inches plus 6, 42 inches higher than the ground. So if I was sitting on a chair on any part of the deck of the first floor of the hotel, I would be able to see clear shot to the ocean, over the fences and over the grass field. To one side, there's a huge hotel that's not complete, and there's a big grass field over there. So I'll be able to see over the grass and over the fences. There's it's only a little thin ass fence, but I'll be able to see over that by applying for the permit with the height, the additional height. Plus my floors were not standard hotel dimensional floors. The standard floor in a hotel is 9 feet. I asked for 10 feet. And the reason for that is because I will run the septic lines on the one side of the rooms and have a 1-foot soffit around the septic lines, because at the one side of the building, it'll only be down 8 inches from the floor, the upper floor, but at the other side of the building, you have a 1/16 inch drop per foot. So you have 45 feet. 45/16 isn't much, but it's 3 inches. So it goes from 8 inches to 11-inch drop from where it drops through the first floor to the other end of the building. There'll be a 3-inch drop, 1/64 of an inch per foot, standard waistline drop on any construction site. That's what you want. You want to shoot for minimal drop, because if the pipe is too steep, the water will flow out of the pipe. And if for some reason the building or facility is not used for a long time, the water dries up in the pipe, and that whatever debris is in the pipe becomes like little pebbles, and it becomes a barrier for the next time you use the system. The water flow is clogged up by dried up material. That's the best, 1/64 per foot. You see these guys that put in a drain line and the drain line drops a half inch per foot, and they think that's the best because it slides down into the tank. That's not the best, okay? The best is 1/64 per inch per foot. Ask any plumber. Okay, so I'm going to, hello, Samuel, welcome. Oh, I know it was a joke, Eclectic TV. No, it's not a joke. It's what the Filipinos say to you. Why are you complaining? You have money. Warren, if Warren called me at 3 a.m. and said he needed help, I would just ask if I need to bring a shovel. You're a good man, Scott. Samuel, Scott Del Fuego, Warren, I'm pretty sure Mercury 3 and a few others, I'm pretty sure they're communicating with one another. I introduced, because of a request from Mercury 3 to Warren, or vice versa, I introduced those two men a few weeks ago, and they're having a great old time conversing with each other. And one thing I want to tell you about Warren, everybody knows he was a police officer, but I want to tell you to go to Warren's page. Warren has an upload. So Warren, post the link to your page. Warren made a great upload, man. I got to tell you. So go over there and give Warren a thumbs up for his creation. So we have the original permit cost here of 15,000 pesos. We had to get something called the tax declaration of real property. Okay, that is to say, you go to the records office in your local community and you ask them for a record of taxes for the lot, the block, and lot number. Pretty easy process. It took about, I don't think I was there 2 hours. And you can go to another division at the same time. Getting permits was a lot easier than getting permits in America. The initial plans and okay to start, that was another problem. So, hello, Samuel. I hope, Scott says, I hope all is well. Yeah, Samuel, you disappeared yesterday for a few hours. That's not like you. I hope that you were getting some well-deserved rest and it wasn't anything important. Okay, so the link to Warren's page is there. Copy and paste that 3 times, Warren, so they know to go. So they know it's easy to find in the notes. Please copy and paste that link and your message 3 times in a row, continuously. Okay, so the tax declaration was easy to get, took about 2 hours. They reviewed the taxes on the property. Now, the previous property owner didn't pay taxes, I don't know, I think it was 3 years. And the taxes were $2.25, back taxes. That's all the taxes were. I think I paid 110 pesos in back taxes. It was a dead piece of land, no one was using it, and the taxes were like 30 pesos a year. Okay. So that cost me $2.30 or 130 pesos for that tax declaration page, plus a 30 peso filing fee. So that was 160 pesos. The next one was the CNC. Now I don't want to tell you what the name of that is because, to be honest, it's 2 years and I don't remember what CNC stands for. So the CNC permit is something you need to get. And that paperwork was 60 American dollars or 3,000 pesos. And it took, again, that paperwork had to go to the building department in Panglao, and then it had to go to Manila. And that would have prevented me from getting my final permit even though it was applied for, but the permit took so long to get the plans and the permit. The week I was supposed to go back to the building department to get the final permit, I said to the girl, "Where's my CNC permit? I called you up 6 months ago. You said you were going to get it." "Sir, it's on my desk. I forgot to bring it to you. I'll bring it to you tonight." And she did. So that permit, the CNC permit, was 3,000 pesos or $60. And it took a year and a half for the paperwork to go to Manila and come back from Manila. From Panglao to Cebu, that's where the paperwork is processed. The CNC permit's processed in Cebu, and the height clearance is processed in Manila. So that took a year and a half. Okay, so I needed a copy of a signed lease, 3 copies. That cost about 40 pesos to have each lease, so another 120 pesos. Then you need the original barangay captain certification. This one here. This one here. The original barangay captain certification. So for that, you have to bring your plans and tell them what you want to do. You don't have to have final plans. You can go to the barangay captain and discuss what you want to do, and he's going to come down the block and ask your neighbors if there's any problems with going on here. Does anybody else own the land? But this barangay captain was either friends or family with the owner of the property, and he knew the property, and he had, I guess he had already been advised what was going on, so he filled out the paperwork right then and there. And what I did was I gave him a big box of cookies, not for the barangay captain, for the office of the barangay captain. I brought them something to Pasalubong. I did the same at the building department. Whenever I went there, I'd buy a dozen pieces of chocolate pan or pig pie or chocolate like pudding filled pies. It helps. Believe me, it goes a long way. And they remember that. And then, of course, it becomes, you know, not a requirement, but, you know, when you go into the building office and no one else brought pan that day, they will say, "Where's my pan?" So you bring them pan. Good idea. Bring them pan. They work hard. They don't make a lot of money. So bring them pan. Okay. The next thing I had to bring them was a lease agreement for where I lived prior to this and how long I lived in the Philippines. I don't know why, but that was a requirement. The next thing I had to bring was a community tax certificate. So the community tax certificate is right here. Number 8, the community tax certificate. I don't even remember what that was. And then I had to bring a tax certificate from somebody that didn't even have their name on the lease of the property. There's a family that owned the property like 85 years ago. And I had to bring a document from either a 100-year-old person or a descendant of that person's heritage to get my permit. But the barangay captain, I said, that they owned the property 85 years ago on paper. There's nobody to that in that family. He said, "Yes, sir. They live over by," and I go, "And how do I get it there?" And he gave me directions on a piece of paper. I said, "When do I need this?" He said, "You need it now." I went there. I spoke with a person who had been informed of this. He called up the barangay captain and said, "Yes, sir, we're renting. The property is okay to rent to Mr. Fazio. There are no issues." And it all happened over the phone. Okay, the next thing, I needed a copy of an extrajudicial settlement. This is the most important thing. I needed a copy of an extrajudicial settlement. Okay, that states that the property is owned and can be rented by the person I'm renting the property from, which I had already given 2 years rent in advance at a lawyer's office. And the lawyer's fee was supposed to be, Daisy's here. The lawyer's fee was supposed to be 5,000 pesos. Is that correct originally, Daisy? The lawyer's fee for the contract, 5,000. And what did it go up to? 13,500 pesos by the time we brought everybody there to sign the agreement? Yeah. It went from 5,000 pesos for a completed contract for the lawyer to write up the contract and to make all members of the family sign the agreement, everybody. It went from 5,000 to 13,500 pesos on the day I brought the people there. 9 signatories on the contract. I had every member of the family. People that hadn't been in the city of Tagbilaran in 20 years, I bust them in by renting a van for 1,500 pesos. So that process cost me $300 while it was supposed to cost me $100. So that was triple. Effing lawyers. They're the same everywhere. And then I needed a certificate to build what they call a bunkhouse. The housing that I'm in, the temporary housing, that had to be an original, had to be signed by the walking architect. There's an architect engineer that oversees every construction project of any value, of any major consequence. And he comes to your property and looks around like this, and in 30 seconds he evaluates to get your certification. That was the man that didn't let me touch the property, not even cut the grass, because there was some trees in the grass. He said, just don't touch anything, Mr. Fazio. Just leave it the way. I said, but the grass leaves a lot of mosquitoes. Just leave it like that, sir. Just leave it till you get your permit. Had I cut it the day before, it would have been okay. But so that man prevented, because of rules and regulations, from me even cutting the grass for 2 years. And I still don't have the CNC height clearance, so it's from November of 2016, 2017 1 year, 2018 1 year. Then you have November, December, January. So 27 months I'm waiting for the CNC permit. So you people that are interested in knowing what the update on the hotel is, I now have permission to dig the footings and start building foundation columns and or foundation walls. But I have an injury on my foot, which you are all well aware of. And when that injury heals in its entirety and I can put a work boot on, I'll go back to work. I hope that answered your question. Philo in the Philippines. Philo, I saw your great video this morning on pricing in the area in which you live. Damn, your prices are 50%, 30 to 50% cheaper than anything we have here. Heineken beer, where Philo is, was 269 pesos for a 6-pack. So that's like $7. No, 269. 250 pesos is $5. Yeah, it's $5.50 for a 6-pack of Heineken. So that's like 80 cents a bottle. Corona was $12. $12 for a 6-pack. That's $2 a bottle. Heineken is 80 cents a bottle. This is up on Philo in the Philippines channel. I couldn't believe the price disparity. Heineken's 80 cents a bottle, and Corona, which is garbage in my opinion, is $2 a bottle. Now that gave me an idea. I'm going to do a price comparative on beers and liquors. I'm going to do the same video that Philo did. You want to post the video for that, Philo? You'd like to post the link to that video? You're welcome to do so. It's a great video Philo made. Unbelievable. The price of chicken where Philo lives was 86 pesos per kilo for whole chickens. 2 whole chickens came in a bag. 86 pesos per kilo. Where I live, it's 130 to 145 pesos. So just go 86, 96, 106, 116, 126, 136, and then 44 pesos more per kilo. That's $1 more per kilo in the Philippines. That's like an hour's wages for a Filipino. So if you were going to the store as a Filipino, you would have to decide, if you went where Philo lived, you'd save an hour's wages on just 1 kilo of chicken. There's no reason for this. There's no reason except that they have a ridiculous law here in Bohol. Honey, ice water, please, cold water. They have a ridiculous, I left a comment on Philo's page this morning. They have this ridiculous thing that they do in Bohol. Thank you. When BQ and ICM malls had the same price. No more than a 5% difference. And when I first got here 5 years ago. Okay. But shopping at BQ had a bigger variety than the mall in ICM at the time. Thanks, Philo. Good evening, Popeye 1. Hello, Reset. What's in my water? Dried, it's called anise, A-N-I-S-E. It's a spice that tastes like licorice. It's 10 pesos for 10 grams here. No crocodile tears. We are a blogger-free day today. No talking about other bloggers. And tomorrow and the day after that. Hopefully the blogger wars have ended. It would be nice. So originally when I got to the Philippines, the prices were the same in BQ and ICM malls. Now, ICM decided to renovate their store and make it bigger. There was nothing wrong with ICM's store. It was probably renovated 3 or 4 years before I got here. It was brand new floors, brand new cash register counters, registers. It had cameras, it had lighting, it had aircon. Everything was new. There was no reason to renovate it. Well, they did. And 6 months later, they were done. They had the store open partially in a different section. The whole store was open, but they were building the new section, and then they moved, blah, blah, blah. They had a major construction project on, and they left the store open, cordoned off from the parts where they were building. But when they opened the store, every single item, in the store went up minimum 10 pesos. So what was 22 pesos for a loaf of bread became 32 pesos the day they opened up the new store. That's 30% increase. What was 147 pesos for a quart of for a 7. Let me have one of those bottles of tequila, honey. What was 700? I think it was 700 liters. It was 147 pesos. What that became was 159 pesos for 700 milliliters. So it went up from 147 to 159. It went up 12 pesos. It went up 8%. All liquors, Every liquor, every single bottle went up 8%. Okay, so they have some increase in costs. Peanuts went from 80 pesos per kilo to 120 pesos per kilo. Peanuts went up 50%. Candy, 50%. Rice went from 29 pesos a kilo to 38 pesos per kilo. 11 pesos, that's 40% increase. On rice, standard staple in the Philippines. That's at the ICM Mall because they did a renovation. But you know what? BQ didn't do a reservation. BQ didn't do no reservation, no renovation at all, nothing. They didn't even change a light switch. And BQ matched ICM's prices, penny for penny, peso for peso. And so did every other mom and pop sari store in all of Bohol because they had to, because that's where they buy their supplies from. They don't have, like, when I buy alcohol, I buy it by the case. So in America, I did the same thing, but I didn't even drink alcohol. I just bought it for gifts. But here I use it for gifts. I use it for mosquito repellent, and I use it for to go to sleep at night. If I drank too much coffee in the morning, I have trouble sleeping at night. So I use it to go to sleep. For basically, I have one shot, sometimes two. So BQ raised their prices identical to ICM, and they didn't spend $1 in their store, and that was 3 years ago. So every store in Bohol matched the exact price of ICM. They set the tone for pricing in the Philippines. But apparently, I mean, on the island of Bohol, but where Philo lives, they may have the same policy, but the people are not getting raped for the pricing. Jeez. I can't even tell you. A man works in construction for an hour. He makes 50 pesos per hour. And now the price of rice is 45 pesos per kilo. It's not fair. A man has to work an hour for a kilo of rice. That would be the equivalent of an American working an hour, making $20 an hour. That would be the equivalent of $15 per kilo or $7.50 a pound for rice. It's absurd, the price of food here. So let me go back to the videotape. Let's see. I don't know how I'm way up here, man. I don't really want to go through all of these. All right. Warren increases the money. I'm skipping over a lot of this stuff. Skipping over a lot of it. Everybody's saying hello. Welcoming each other to the show. Pennsylvania Trucker is saying hello to everybody. Scott's saying hello to everybody. A nice group of people. Thanks for stopping by. Philippine Scenes. Hello, Sir Michael. Hello, Philippine Scenes. Welcome. How is your experience here in the Philippines with pricing? Samuel went to check out Warren's upload. Warren uploaded a video, first video to his channel. Let's go over there and give him a thumbs up. He posted the link 3 times. Okay, so Warren had a problem with... Warren didn't get back in time yesterday. The girl putting in the intrusive line into his veins was having trouble, and it took 2 hours rather than 30 minutes. Sorry to hear that, Warren. I know how... I'm a healthy guy, all things considered, and I don't like going to the doctor. Warren is He's a freaking warrior. That's what he is. He's a warrior. Okay, so all right, you guys are talking about another YouTuber. I'm not going there today. We're going to see if we can end the blog wars, because next time it just needs to stop. We need to talk about the Philippines. That's why we're in the Philippines, and get some positive things going to help people that want to move to the Philippines or are in the Philippines and need information. So I'm gonna put an end to that, and you know, as time progresses, we'll see how that works out. All right, I'll let you guys have that conversation. I'm going to stay out of it. No sound again. No. That's a YouTube problem. That's not my microphone. It's a YouTube problem. Mercury says, Jim, close the chat and reopen it. Okay. Mercury's telling Jim Charnod to close the chat and reopen it, and he should have access to the previous chats. But I'm going to tell you, Jim, you didn't miss anything. There's nothing up at the top of the chat window that's important. Okay, what's up, Philo? Okay, now Philo and Mercury are longtime friends. Thank you for stopping by. Trustee Shellbank is also a military service of military service background. I'm pretty sure of that. Welcome. Thanks for your service as well. You know, I saw a post on Facebook. I don't repost anything on Facebook. Nothing. I do the minimum amount on Facebook, but it was a Home Depot, and they had just to give you guys a heads up. Home Depot had a policy to give all veterans a discount, but especially senior citizen veterans, a discount. I don't know what the discount was on items purchased in Home Depot. And their new policy in the state of Washington changed so that veterans and retired veterans, elderly veterans, senior citizen veterans are no longer getting qualify for a senior citizens discount. That's freaking disgusting. That is disgusting. That really, you know, I think that veterans, I don't care even if they were only chopping potatoes, okay? I was never in the service. I don't have any veterans benefits. I don't have a pony in the show or a horse in the race, but I think that veterans deserve benefits. Okay, they did give up 2 to 4 years of their life at a minimum, and maybe they gave up their life. Okay, they deserve special privileges. A small discount from a huge conglomerate like Home Depot won't give veterans a discount that they were giving them a few months back. They discontinued veterans discounts on the post I reposted today. So I reposted that post. I don't know who will see it and who wouldn't. I just wanted to give you a heads up what those sons of bitches at Home Depot are doing. Okay, it's plain and simple. These greedy bastards, these greedy corporate entities, these greedy corporate bastard lawyers and executives, that make $90 million a year, and they get $1 million bonus on Christmas morning or Christmas week, and they took away the benefits, the discount benefits to veterans. Sick. Totally sick. Well, thanks for stopping by, Trustee Shellbank. And Popeye, I'm not sure who Popeye... I'm not sure if Popeye 1 is the original Popeye from Riff Raff Radio, and I don't really want to know because I don't want a whole bunch of, I don't want to stir up a whole bunch of shit. But if it is, thanks for stopping by. Okay. That is cheap, Popeye. $5 for a 6-pack of Heineken. That's cheaper than. That's cheap. I think I remember $9 for a 6-pack. I only drink Heineken. I'm not going to sit down. I'm not going to bullshit you. I have a video where. Oh, God, one of my subscribers demanded that I go out and have a beer with a pizza, with my pizza to celebrate. And I did. I had a beer. It was a Red Horse. I personally don't like Red Horse beer. I don't like any beer from the Philippines. I like Heineken. And I like Heineken on ice. I want them to put the Heineken on ice, but I want it down to 30 degrees. That's where I like to drink my Heineken. And I want ice to put my Heineken bottle in because it's gonna take a half hour to drink a Heineken. That's how. And I'm only going to have one, so I want to enjoy it. They don't carry Heineken here. It's the cheapest beer. It's more money than Red Horse. Red Horse is, I think, 30 pesos a bottle. So it's 3 times the price of a Red Horse. But damn, it's a better beer. And $5 for a 6-pack. Next time I go, I'm going to put down Heineken just to have a. In case I want a beer, I'm going to get Heineken, honey. Are you frying something? Yeah, okay, Heineken.
Want me to open it?
No. I just wanted to write down Heineken beer. The next time we go to the store, we'll get a 6-pack of Heineken to remind me. All right. Randall, is it legal to homebrew beer there? Yeah, it's legal to do that. Okay, Philo posted a link to his multiple pricing in the store. So, Philo, you can post that link. When I post a link, I post it 3 times. This way, it's easy to find. Otherwise, it gets buried inside a bunch of nonsense. Why don't you copy that link and message and post it 3 times continuously if you're still here. Philo says there's no foreigners where he lives. I saw that in your live stream. I think it was a live stream last week. Okay. Popeye, win or lose, I will always love the Patriots. LOL. That's true. Chilling, Philo, ice storm coming. My joints are killing me. An ice storm. That Mercury lives in the upper peninsula of Michigan. It was 37 degrees below somewhere around his house, and I think 20 below by his house. That's not wind chill. 20 degrees below zero last week. You know, Popeye, I went to America 3 years ago, and a loaf of bread was $1.50, $1.50 for a loaf. It's the cheapest possible thing they could make. And when I left America, a loaf of bread was 69 cents. So it went up 230% in 3 years. It's sick. And now Popeye wanted to say, and a loaf of bread is, so a loaf of bread here is now, okay, if you go directly to the bakery, it's 32 pesos for a loaf of bread, Daisy?
30 in the town. Here is 30 and 40.
30 and 40 for the whole wheat, or 30 and 40 for a bigger loaf?
Big one or 40.
Okay, so for the small loaf, when you get a chance, bring over the small loaf. A small loaf of bread here is 30 pesos. And you bring over one loaf when you're done frying, okay?
Okay.
So a small loaf is 30 pesos. But in the city, the same loaf that was 23 pesos upon arrival to the Philippines is now 48 pesos. It went up 105% in 5 years. 105% increase in 5 years. And the wages for the Filipinos have pretty much remained the same. Jim, oh, I got to find that now. It's going to be hard. Whoa, I'm way up here again. Okay, I found it. Jim Charnard. I wish I could. Philly, are the SNR prices the same up where you are as compared to Philo's? That's a good question. So Philly and the Philippines, are your prices comparable to the prices that Philly and Philo and the Philippines put up? Yeah, Philo. They are in bed together. In fact, I don't know who owns either store. Rumors have it that it's a Chinese company that owns ICM. I don't know that to be true or not true. Ronald Webster says the cheapest bread in Ireland is 50 pesos, so that's $1. That's still cheap compared to what it is here. It's 48 pesos for a loaf of bread in ICM Mall. It's ridiculous. Same price, $1 for a loaf of bread. Got to remember, Filipinos only make $1 an hour, so it's an hour's wages. Randall, it's sick. The man who I spoke about, who I was at the pizzeria with in my pizzeria video that I just posted, Bohol's Best Pizza, Giuseppe's Pizzeria, and Roast. We were sitting there at the first pizzeria, which is on the major corner, the major hub in Alona Beach. And, him and I, the traffic, look at this. Daisy made breakfast. I didn't have breakfast, and I've been up since, I got up late, but it's around 6:30. Daisy made fresh eggs with cheese. No cheese. Fresh eggs, fresh spinach, and fresh pork. So I'm going to be eating while I talk with you people. I'll try to talk with my mouth closed. No, there is no equivalent to Sam's Club in the Philippines. Honey, shut the fan off, please. Thank you. Wow, you cooked the eggs perfect. There is no equivalent to Sam's Club. I was going there. I like to buy in bulk. I buy cases of whatever I buy cases of, because you're going to buy it. It's an investment. No place. I said, so they have to have a discount liquor place. In America, they have discount liquor, discount cigarettes. Okay, it used to be 40 or 50% discount. Now it's 10 or 15%. But when you're paying $50, $100 for a carton of cigarettes, 15% is $15. So, no, they have no equivalent. There are no discount places. There are only two places to buy in bulk on the island of Bohol. One is called ICM Mall, and the other is called BQ Mall, and that's your choice. You can go to the manager of either place. Tell them, look, I buy rum by the case. Can you give me a discount? No, sir. That's the price. So you could buy, I was going to buy 2 cases of rum. That was last January because I know it's going up. And I use it for everything. I use it for mouthwash, 4 ounces to 4 ounces of water. That's what I brush my teeth with after my meal. I use it for mosquito bites after I get them, and I use it for mosquito repellent, and I give it away as gifts. So I said, I'll buy 2 cases because the day I do my bulk shopping, I take a tricycle home, not a jeepney. So I load it up. I mean, I'm talking about 200, 150 kilos, 200, 300 pounds of stuff. I buy everything by the case, even in the store. No, sir, no discount. It's a joke living here. So Pennsylvania trucker says cheaper to bake your own bread. I don't think so. If you had an oven, a wood-fired oven, yeah, but for the price of gas and electric, I don't think it would be cheaper. Warren H. said, before the cancer diagnosis, I was almost never at the doctor. That's amazing. Amazing. I was watching some old movies. It just brought back memories. Said, here today, gone tomorrow, man. I have to tell you, I've been fortunate that I haven't been to the doctor my whole life. This foot injury is just freaking killing me. It's 7 months now. It is healing. The Clark Henderson, is a surgeon who's given me some excellent advice. Better than any advice I got from any doctor that I've been to in the Philippines. So, Clark, if you're listening, the foot is doing 1,000 times better. So when I started your treatment January 1st, so now it's February 3rd. It's healed up more in 34 days than it has in 5 months. So it's getting better. But Warren said before he had cancer diagnosed, he was never at the doctor's. That's an amazing part of life. You know, I don't want to reflect on that anymore, Warren. It's sad. You served your community and your country as a police officer. I probably would imagine you were in the service before that. You should have some kind of special privileges for not getting cancer as well. And the thing that pisses me off is that we all know they have the cure for cancer. Okay, they have it. Somebody has it, not something that they missed. Just like they had the cure for mumps and measles, and they have the cure for all that stuff. But cancer is a big money industry, and they won't give it to us. That just pisses me off. Reset 1776 says, great audio. Good to hear. Thank you for the update. Popeye won the veterans. Damn, you know. I had my dad was in the paratroopers, and my uncle was in the Army, and my other uncle was in the Navy. They were good men, you know. They were, well, my uncle Scum. He's just a scumbag. He was a scumbag at birth, but I mean, they were good. It gives you hardworking, characteristical traits, builds character. But a lot of my friends from school in the year preceding me, I graduated in 1970. I was born in 1955, which makes me 63. Vietnam ended in 64. I was never in the service, but going through that period in time, I remember many of my friends from childhood not coming back from Vietnam mentally, and some of them not coming back at all, and some of them coming back in pieces. So I remember my friends going into the service and being victimized by the United States Mafia and this American war machine. They deserve special privileges all across the board. 1% housing loans or no percent housing loans. They give it to the foreigners that come into the country illegally. They should get all the benefits first before anybody else. Veterans should get all the benefits. Should not be a single homeless veteran in the world. What I'm going to say, I want you to listen carefully. Okay? I'm going to tell you right now. 23 veterans a day commit suicide. What they should have is a different plan. Okay? That's just all I'm going to say. Instead of committing suicide, they should organize and do something different. They should get together, form a community, which they already have, by the way. It's called the Veterans Administration. And Trump's still allowing this shit to happen. Okay, the veterans are treated like shit in America. Now, do I agree with war? No, I don't. There is no reason for it. Once you get into the politics of war, there is no possible reason for war. And now that they're training children to not even point your finger and go like this on video or a picture, they're not even allowed to point their finger at another person in grade school or kindergarten. They grow up through life becoming sissies. And then when they're 18, if they go into the service, the military says it's okay to kill, rape, kill, maim, and destroy for your tour. And then when you get back, you have to stop. It's insanity. I don't agree with it at all. But if you did go through that, you deserve special privileges. No matter. No matter. I'm never going to change my mind about that. I hate the idea that there's no reason for war. There's just, it's all about money and oil and drugs. And now in Afghanistan, heroin. And we know that. But if you're going to put your life on the line for something, you deserve more benefits. That's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it. So, Popeye, thank you for acknowledging, and thank you for your service. Warren. All right, I'll throw you a little bonus song here. Warren likes this song, The Bear Went Over the Mountain. So, let me give you an idea. This was my dad's favorite song. Every Sunday morning throughout childhood, he sang The Bear Went Over the Mountain. If he was home. He worked out of town a lot. Sometimes he'd be gone 3 months. So, here's how it goes. Dad would bring us into the room and close the door and sing. Honey? Oh, thank you. Water, please. Water, please.
You want cold?
Cold, yeah. Me. Dad didn't do any of that shit. What, honey? What happened?
Hey.
Okay, ready? The bear went over the mountain, the bear went over the mountain, the bear went over the mountain. And what do you think he saw? He saw another mountain. He saw another mountain. He saw another mountain. And what do you think he did? He climbed the other mountain. He climbed the other mountain. He climbed the other mountain. And what do you think he saw? He saw a bunch of stinkweeds. He saw a bunch of stinkweeds. He saw a bunch of stinkweeds. And what do you think he did? He ate up all the stinkweeds. He ate up all the stinkweeds. He ate up all the stinkweeds. And what do you think he got? He got an awful bellyache. He got an awful bellyache. He got an awful bellyache. And what do you think he did? He did it all over the mountain. Blah. He did it all over the mountain. Blah. He did it all over the mountain. Blah. And what do you think of that? I'm a good singer, right? I am, I know. You don't have to answer that question. I already know. Ask me. I'll tell you. So, Philo in the Philippines had a bunch of smiles. Thanks. Thanks, Scott. Yeah, as long as nobody is talking about me, the Philippines blogger wars are over. Scott Del Fuego. What brand name of bread for $2.89? Scott Del Fuego's in America. My favorite bread was Wonder Bread, and of course Tasty. What brand do they have that in Chicago? Thank you, Trusty. Jim Shonard, you know that I'm good. You're just you're just saying I'm not good because you don't want me to go become a YouTube singer and I won't be able to do my live streams. If I become, if they put me on That's Incredible or He Has Talent, something like that. I'm good, right, Daisy? Daisy loves when I sing in the morning. We sing. Daisy sings to me, and I sing to Daisy. Don't think that I don't serenade Daisy with a good bear went over the mountain once in a while. Okay, so Philo looks like he's leaving. Okay, I didn't catch that. Bye-bye, Philo. Thank you for stopping by. Yeah. So anybody that's new here, Philo in the Philippines has a pretty cool channel. He does Philippines blogs. He does walks around the area. He does pricing in the Philippines. He's a regular Philippines blogging type of guy. And on Tuesdays, he has a live stream. So I will not be doing live streams on Tuesday to not interfere with Philo's live stream. Pennsylvania trucker. They've eased the restrictions on copyright. Like if it's playing in the background, I lost my first channel because one of my one strike was for music that played in the background. And when I played the video back, I had it in storage in an external drive. Couldn't hear the music, but YouTube's computers picked it up and even told me the name of the song. Trusty Cell Bank says, Fazio, you're correct. Current medicine only treats symptoms for profit. That's it. They don't fix the problem. Doctors are not interested in fixing your problem. Son of a bitch, I went to a dermatologist when I was 14, 15 years old. I had a really bad case of acne. $40 a week. So, and my dad used to take me once a month. So $40 a month for years. All he did was put an ultraviolet light on my face for about 15 minutes and surgically removed the pus with a syringe from my pimples, from my big giant pimples. I think you call them the bigger ones, not the pimples, but acne. Acne, yeah, but the bigger pimples and the ones that grow under the skin. And all he did, so when I was 17, I started building a health food store for a guy named Samuel and Laura Simone. He was a police detective and I built the health food store. Here's to your health on East 79th Street and First Avenue, right out of high school. Anyway, I built several stores for them, but Laura asked me what I was doing for my acne, and I told her, no, I might have been 18 because I had sold my GTX, so I was about 18. I had a Port Authority yellow station wagon with the push bumpers on it, so I was 18. I had that car for like 4 years, 18 or so, and I was also working at Fairchild Industries shortly after that. So, yeah, I was 18. And they told me, the hell with that tetracycline. It's killing you. Take acidophilus, 60 million microbes, 60 million acidophilus microbes or germs per capsule, and it'll 3 times a day, and it'll clear up in a month. And I did, and it cleared up in a month. I had no more acne. Acidophilus cured my acne in a month, and that son of a bitch, Dr. forgot his name. I hope I remember, but he's dead now. Dr. Damn, I forgot his name. He's out, and my father had to drive me to Lawrence. That was like 12 miles away. That son of a bitch charged us $40 a month and gave me tetracycline prescriptions. And when he could have just told me about acidophilus and cured my acne. So I went through high school with acne, bad case of acne. And that son of a bitch, Dr. Brody, Dr. Adrian Brody, B-R-O-D-Y, Dr. Adrian Brody in Lawrence, Long Island, I think, or maybe Atlantic Beach. They're close to each other. That son of a bitch, may he rot in hell for not curing my acne in one session. Mike, stop eating fried foods or consume 180 million lactobacilli virus per day, or what is known as acidophilus, and your acne will go away in a month. They don't want to cure anything. Son of a bitch. I'll never forget that bastard. Popeye agreed with me. Thank you. There's nothing to disagree with. There's nothing to disagree with. If a man is going to risk his life and limb in any trade, any profession, he deserves more money. That's why they do it for the benefits, but he should also have the benefit of having benefits for life. Anyway, anybody that disagrees with me is just, they disagree with me. It's their opinion. Michael McFarland, another person, another veteran, thank you for your service. He also agrees they treat vets like shit. And Trump is not much different. 23 vets a day are still dying from suicide. That's just effing ridiculous. Jim Schoenard wants me to sing again. Thank you, Trusty. Trusty gave me 5 thumbs up. Thank you. Potato bread is my favorite of all breads. Way better than wheat bread, Mercury. That's true. We don't have potato bread in the Philippines. Potatoes are 120 pesos a kilo. They were 30 pesos when I got to the Philippines. They went up 3 times the price. Dennis Adams is also a seasoned veteran when it comes to singing. His song is Ate a Peanut, Ate a Peanut, Ate a Peanut just now. I don't know that song. Samuel agrees I'm an excellent singer. Whole grain wheat is cool, Mr. Tux. I will eat it, but I don't enjoy whole grain wheat as much as I enjoy white bread. And people say, oh, white bread's bad for you. Well, you know, I got to tell you, when it comes to cholesterol and sugar content, whole wheat and white bread are exactly equal. Look at the content. Look at the panel on the side of the bread. They're identical. In fact, Kellogg's Sugar Frosty Flakes is the same exact percentage of vitamins and starch and salt, exactly the same as whole wheat bread. I mean, maybe one thing, niacin is the same, vitamin D is the same. It's all the same. They make it out of the same garbage. Well, if your doctor told you don't eat it, don't eat it. But mercury 3. But if you look at, you go to the store, get a loaf of bread, get a loaf of wheat bread, and get a box of cereal, and look at the percentages of the things on the side of the box, pretty much identical. There might be a few small things different. I'm talking about Kellogg's Sugar Frosted Flakes and whole wheat bread have basically the same amount of calories.